Hello everybody. It's been a while since we had a direct live chat or talk, and I wanted to take a minute and tell you all what's going on with Lost Battlefields, The Last Nazi Secret, Great Forts, and the shows that I started working on some years ago. Because there's, as you know, there's been a little bit of sour griping from me towards the YouTube revenue stream and opening up for other possibilities. And I wanted to clue you in because we are paddling down a road where we may all need to sort of work together. Nobody ever wanted to become a military historian or an author, probably, because of the great financial incentives or hot groupies chasing you around. Certainly, I never started this channel or my interest in military history and history in general there was never financial incentive, because let's be realistic, it doesn't happen. It came because history is so very, very important, and there are so many lessons that are going lost every time a veteran dies or a historian dies or a book goes out of print. There's lessons that goes lost for the next generations or forever. Because if this knowledge is not passed on, there's a very real danger, and we see it today in a lot of different countries and in some cultures, that there is this undercurrent of rewriting history for whatever reasons, whether it be political or religious or whatever, what have you. And it does us no good, because for the world we are in today, and especially for the young generation and the next generation and the one after that, there's nothing better than to preserve the visuals of the battlefields, of the wars. And I'm not saying that history and war is synonymous to each other, it's not. However, during the time of war, you have so much more evolution, developments, technical tragedy, all wrapped up in a short period of time than you have in many, many years of peacetime. So if we study the wars and the technologies and the humanities of war and battle and combat and conflict and human interaction, which is sometimes conflict, because human beings, well, we are human beings. We wage wars, and we put boundaries for those who keep pushing, and we put our foot down for dictators or dictatorships. I remember when I grew up, whether you were called a Nazi or a communist, that was equally bad. Today there seemed to be this resurgence that communism and Marxism might be this great thing, just haven't been done right. And there are so many lessons from history to the contrary. Obviously, millions and millions of people died under these regimes. There's so much to be learned from there. There's so much to be learned from the fall or the slow death of the Roman Empire, that started with a vast influx of all the tribes that sought refuge inside the Roman territories, to the point where after some while Rome as such was for the main part no longer full of Romans. So they couldn't recruit in the armies, they couldn't harvest the field. That's a whole different lecture we're going to get into. There are lessons to be learned from the fall of Roman Empire that we need today. There are lessons from battles, from conflicts, whether it be the Napoleonic Wars, the Franco-Prussian World War I, World War II, the various conflicts subsequently, and their influence on our politics and governance and our leadership or lack of leadership. All of this is history, and that is something that is so enormously important to honestly portray. And I thought the best thing I could do, besides telling small tidbits and parts of history, in some way go after, within Last Nazi Secret, to try to figure out exactly what was going on, what technologies were invented, why the secrets, why the secrecy, why the conspiracies. You have so many unanswered questions just from a war that is still in living memory. And we have classified information or documents that we still can't access from World War I and before. There's a very real need for historians and investigators to come together as a community and talk and try to figure out what happened and present it to you. And one of the best ways, I thought, was to go to the places where these things happened, to investigate them, or to go to the great castles and the forts and the bunkers and the fortified lines to show you how these soldiers lived and fought, how they were designed, go through the plans they had. One of the main things that, as my channel and my work evolved, was I enjoy doing that because so many of you and so many disabled veterans and elderly or people who just can't travel, who wants to see these places, I can bring them there as I can. There's great historians who does the same thing and make great documentaries on YouTube and other platforms and go in depth with different topics, and it's great because we can all together bring the world a better, probably more honest picture of events and of history. And we can bring you to places like History Hunter does. You can come with us to these places, and we can show you, and that's important. That was one of the main things that kept me going. Like I said, this was never about money. However, as it always is, it is a little bit about money. As my channel grew, it grew because the YouTube commercial revenue grew. And as that grew, I was able to travel longer and go further and spend more time out there documenting and videotaping away from any kind of resemblance of a day job or what have you. In order to pay my bills, I could do these things. Now, ever since the YouTube platform have changed their format of recommending videos, I don't know what part of the algorithm it is or isn't because they won't tell you. There's some interesting videos, we're very intelligent people, way smarter than I, who will tell you what it is they did and how they did it and how it affects a whole lot of channels. Resulting is, the videos I've been doing are no longer being seen by nearly as many. And this happened January 1. I saw a steady decline. From last year, we're down 85% revenue. And that is now at a point where it's impossible for me to continue to fund the trips, the field trips, the travels to document these places in the same way. I have to work more on my regular job, believe me, I know I have a few, in order to do this. And I still worry, I still have enough material of some really amazing places, especially the special weapons sites, Last Nazi Secrets, some GPR sightings that you've never seen before, some amazing forts. There's enough to keep you to Christmas. But give you an example, when I went to last Christmas, the Christmas before, I would, on the holidays, I would make $2,000-3,000 a month, which I could then save, and then I could spend $10,000-15,000, all of it, on travels and film this. I mean, it costs money to travel. Let's face it. Not staying in fancy hotels, but there's a cost. So the YouTube revenue, commercial revenue, would make that possible. Now we're down to 500s. That is just not going to make it possible to continue in the same way. However, I'm not going to stop doing what I do. We're just going to have to invent a better mousetrap. And we're going to have to do it together. Obviously, it would be nice to get a network series that would pay me enough for the work there that I would be able to continue here. Because I never wanted this to be about donations or having anyone pay for this. I would say that the commercials is a victimless crime. You can sit through a commercial to see things. You're not out of pocket, and that was a great way of doing this. Because I have amazing Patreons on Patreon, and it took me a long time before I could wrap my head around doing a Patreon account, because having you guys donate so I could go do this, it just felt like this would be something I should be able to do on my own, and it worked with YouTube. Now it doesn't work anymore. So now we have to find a way of continuing And this is where I'd like to hear your opinions, besides everybody. And again, I don't know who I'm reaching now. Before, I would reach hundreds of thousands of you. Now, we just had today the worst attended live stream ever. Again, and I couldn't even promote the video of it because YouTube haven't fixed whatever glitch they have that I couldn't promote the video coming up. And again, more rules have been changed. You all saw the Czechoslovakian fort episode. That has been demonetized because it was deemed too violent. And yes, you are all probably laughing a little bit because there's nothing violent in it. There's nothing wrong with that episode whatsoever. I appealed it. Don't know what's going to happen. But just something, a walk through this amazing fortified line with these great people who restored it could be even thought of as violent or offensive is outrageous. My tribute to the 9/11 events was demonetized, just to give you an idea where things are going. It's 3 minutes of American imagery talking about how much we all should come together and love our country. That apparently was offensive to advertisers. So now we're looking at a point where this will end on YouTube the way it's going, because it can't continue this way. So now I ask you guys, and I am so impressed by all of you guys who have reached out and helped and send me information and helped me with research and graphics, and we have enough for amazing shows. And the people who are donating or signed up on Patreon, there are multi-millions of millionaires out there who loves history. Those are not the ones. I know the guy, those of you who are on my Patreon, who send me $1 or $2 or $5 or $10, you don't have it. And I know you don't. And that is, it pains me to take it, but at this point in time, we have to keep going somehow. But it's amazing. So any of you have a millionaire uncle, let's get the show on the road and start our own little channel and actually go filming with all the equipment we need, because there's certainly enough money with people who are interested, but we're not reaching them. So now we have to start petitioning the networks to start taking some of the shows, maybe even the Food and Biker show. That's something that I know History Channel is looking for, a travel food bike show with more bike background of food, and we'll try. Whatever will get me what I need to keep going and keep searching and keep filming is all that really matters. So, like the question was then, how do we do this? How would it work for you? Because I don't want to, there's a lot of you guys who are helping who really don't have the means to. And I appreciate you more than I can ever tell you. There's a lot of you who can't or don't. And it really bothers me to have people ask, people pay to see what I do, because it's something everybody should be able to. And when you watch TV, all right, you pay for your TV channels, but besides that, you're following a show or following a documentary. You're not really paying for that directly. So I hate to take content off YouTube, even if there's no money on it, because I would like everybody to have the possibility of seeing it. But since YouTube is no longer front paging any of what I do, and a lot of other historians, it's not just me, a lot of people who has this problem, we're going to have to go with the grassroots. We're going to have to start promoting all of you who are active on my channel. Like I said, if I had with 130,000 followers, I keep getting 500, 600, 700,000 followers every month, but the numbers 130 stays the same. So either I get 500 a month and 500 drop off every month. I don't exactly understand what's going on there, and I'm not even going to try to pretend to ask them. If I have 100,000 views on each episode every month, or every episode, that would certainly help. But now we have to start doing the self-promotion, or I'm going to have to ask you guys to help me start the self-promotion. We're going to have to start posting links and chatting and writing. I'll post the emails for History Discovery and some of these channels, and we can start blasting them. Like, why am I not on TV? Grassroots. It always worked. It worked for a lot of political candidates. It worked for a lot of independent movies, and it'll work for us. And I would like to work more with some of the other historians that are on YouTube that have the same problem. that also fell into this, because maybe we have to start a pay platform of our own. Maybe I have to do Lost Battlefields as a membership for $1 a month. Maybe I have to put half an episode on YouTube and the other half on Patreon, which is something I would really hate to do, because then there's those who just don't get to see the other half, and that's not fair. So there's no other platform that I have found where I can upload and have the same commercial revenue and exposure as YouTube used to have. I asked them 7, 8, 9 emails now if they're going to change back, which no platform ever does, so it's a silly question. But I would like to know if they have any intention of trying to make this up to those who are now falling through the cracks and disappearing. But one way or another, I'd like to hear from all of you, and I'd like you guys all to help me share, because I'm still thinking looks, views, traffic is the only thing that can boost the views enough that the revenue could come back. And if it can't, then when we get to the end of the year, something is going to happen. We're going to have to move. Then when the revenue becomes irrelevant on YouTube, doesn't matter where I am. But I want to make sure I bring you all with me. I'm always going to have a presence on YouTube and tell you what's going on and so on. But I would like to, if I may, would it be something that you would all be interested in? All 130,000 of you. You wouldn't even need to. If 100,000 people sign up for Lost Battlefields for $1 a month, well, then it would only need to be 50 cents a month. Okay, I don't need that much, and then then we can start actually. If we did that, and there would be that kind of money, we could start actively helping some of the people restoring some of the forts and some of the sites, because then there would be excess. I don't want to be rich on this. I don't make money on this. I just want to be able to travel and film and eat and hopefully have rent to come home to. I don't have expensive taste, not anymore. So we're going to have to do this together somehow, all of us. And that means all 130,000 of us, not just the couple of thousand who are always there and always active and always on the chat. And we need to start spreading the word, and we need to start sharing the videos and sharing the posts, and looking for different platform opportunities. There will be a new version of Great Forts and The Last Nazi Secret, two series of each that will go on Amazon within the next month or two, because I am moving to Amazon with a lot of updated episodes, because I have to do something other than this now that it has proved itself such a fickle platform. And of course, if you have a millionaire uncle, well, that would solve all the problem. We just need one uncle. And again, also, I wanted to do a lot with the charity, but even setting up all the intricacies of the charity and website and all of that costs money that have this entire year been just declining from YouTube. I'll say if you go from a couple of thousand or 3 or more on the peak episode times, and you drop down to 500, there's not a whole lot of travel going on for that. Because usually when I travel to Europe, I drive 12, 15,000 kilometers. It'll cost me 10,000, maybe 12. The 2 months trips cost me 15. Car rental, gasoline, food, and sometimes I will sleep in the car. But it takes time, costs money, plus I have to pay my rent while I'm gone, and so on and so forth. So it's not, logistics have to work, and I hope we can all together sort of figure out how to make that all work. And so I'm now hoping to have about 130,000 comments in the next couple of weeks on this video, and suggestions. And we all know that I am lagging terribly in checking my emails, but I am trying. It's not like I can hire someone to do that, and I wouldn't want to, because I love the emails I get, even though sometimes it takes me 6 months to respond. Again, there's a day job and on duty and all the other things I have to do. However, we're gonna go on, and I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying to make episodes, and maybe things will look up in the winter on YouTube. But plans have to be made so I can keep doing what I'm doing, and especially bring it to those of you who can't go to these places on their own, because that is important to me personally. It would be nice to start doing tours for those of you who can travel, and we live in a very strange time, and the world is a weird place right now. So what's going on next year? I honestly don't know. I see, to quote Game of Thrones, I see winter is coming. And I don't think it's going to be a fun winter for a lot of people. I think the next year is going to be hard. So it would be nice to have something to look at, or entertainment at least. But again, I'm going to need your help, all of you, to make this all work. But I am not going to abandon you. I'm not going to stop making videos. I'm not going to stop writing books. I'm not going to stop doing what I do. Because I would not want to wake up to not have comments and emails and from all of you guys around the world, because that is really, well, that is pretty much most of what I live for. That and my Harley. And so I like to be able to do that and bring that to you guys. So anyway, that was an update on what's going on and what my thoughts are at this moment. So we will see what we will see. And remember, we're all gonna die, but it doesn't have to be today. See you tomorrow.